The greatest mistake you made when they disrespected you was not staying silent. It was speaking too soon. You thought speed would save you. You thought if you explained faster, clarified harder, and defended yourself in perfect detail, they would finally see the truth. They did not. Because this was never about truth. It was about frame. And the second you rushed to explain, you stepped into theirs. There is a protocol for this. The same strategic withdrawal protocol that Julius Caesar used in Gaul, and Marcus Aurelius mastered through Stoicism, to turn social execution into resurrection, not passive ghosting, not childish games, strategic absence. And no, this is not posting cryptic new era stories for attention. In the next 20 minutes, we are moving past ghosting and into strategic absence. By the end, you will have the 3-step blueprint to make your absence the loudest thing in the room. But be warned, most men who attempt this trigger a social death spiral in the second week because they mistake silence for power. I will show you the exact moment this happens and how to flip it into a psychological ambush. If you execute this correctly, people who dismissed you will start doing something strange. They will track you in silence. They will talk about you without access to you. Then they will rewrite their story about you because the old story no longer fits. Now let's look at the leak. Most people think respect comes from more presence, more visibility, more access, more words, more proof. In power terms, that is usually backwards. The more you show up asking for respect, the less respect you tend to get. Why? Because repeated, low-value availability kills perceived value. There is an economic law for this, law of diminishing marginal utility. The first glass of water when you're thirsty feels priceless. The fifth glass feels irrelevant. In the social market, you are currently an infinite resource, and infinite resources have a price of 0. You are not being disrespected because you are bad. You are being disrespected because you are free. Human attention works the same way. Your first clear message has force. Your third follow-up feels needy. Your sixth, just making sure you saw this, quietly devalues the currency of your attention. Read that again. Every unreplied text you keep adding to does not increase your value. It discounts it. Every extra paragraph you send to someone committed to misunderstanding you is a price cut on your own status. And then people ask why they feel invisible. Because they flooded the market with themselves. Let's make this painfully specific. Leak 1 is the double text. You send a message, no reply. Then you send another one to clarify tone, then another one to close the loop. What are you signaling? My emotional state depends on your response time. People may not say that out loud, but they feel it. Leak 2 is the justification paragraph. Something goes wrong. You fire back 11 lines of context, screenshots, timestamps, and moral positioning. You think you look factual. You usually look unstable. High-status people state facts in short form. Low-status people plead their case. Leak 3 is the post-conflict reassurance chase. After the disrespect, you keep trying to reset the vibe. You send the extra voice note. You ask, "Are we good?" You chase emotional closure from the same person who destabilized you. Strategic absence dies the moment you announce it. Now let's put flesh on the history. Julius Caesar is often reduced to one line. He was in Gaul, then he came back powerful. But what matters is the psychological shift in Rome while he was gone. Early on, parts of the Senate treated him like an ambitious showman, useful in war, dangerous in politics, still containable. Then his dispatches kept arriving. Victory, territory, wealth, troops loyal to him personally. He was physically absent but politically expanding. And he did not vanish into total silence. He controlled narrative through written reports, the Commentarii de Bello Gallico, sent back to Rome. He framed his campaigns as defensive protection of the Republic, making himself look like the frontline shield while others debated in comfort. Notice his psychological brilliance. He wrote these reports in the third person. He did not say, "I conquered Gaul." He said, "Caesar conquered Gaul." He was building a god myth while he was still a man in a tent. He was training the Senate to speak his name with awe before he ever saw their faces again. That matters. Silence without framing is absence. Silence with framing is strategy. This is where fear started to replace mockery. His opponents had a problem they could not solve in public. They could not attack him directly without looking anti-Roman, because he was winning Rome's wars. They could not ignore him because his distance was producing hard power. He also created information asymmetry. He gave enough detail to prove momentum, then left enough unsaid that the Senate had to speculate about the scale of his spoils, patronage, and reserves. In a power vacuum, speculation grows faster than facts. And inside the Senate, that uncertainty was corrosive. When a rival is in front of you every day, you can mock him, interrupt him, corner him, and drag him into process. When that rival is far away building force, process stops protecting you. Rumors start filling the information vacuum. How loyal are his legions really? How much money is he controlling now? If he enters Italy, who defects first? Notice the shift. They were no longer debating his speeches. They were gaming out his return. That is the fear curve you want. Not panic, anticipation. Anticipation makes people rehearse your power before you even arrive. So what happened in Senate psychology? First phase was dismissal. He is lucky. Second phase was irritation. He is getting too much glory. Third phase was obsession. What exactly is he building out there? Fourth phase was preemptive fear. If he returns with this momentum, we cannot control the frame. That is strategic absence. No public argument. No endless defense. No emotional counterposting. Asset accumulation in silence. By the time he crossed the Rubicon in 49 BCE, the battle was not only military, it was psychological. He had spent years becoming a fact that his rivals could not debate away. Now bring this back to your life. If you are always available, always replying instantly, always over-explaining, always defending, people stop experiencing your presence as signal. They experience it as background noise, and background noise gets ignored. This is why your respect drops even when your intentions are good. Your signal-to-noise ratio is broke. Stop and do an audit. Look at your last 3 outgoing messages to the person who disrespected you. Are your messages longer than their replies? Did you ask for clarity more than once? Did you explain yourself to someone who did not ask a real question? If yes, you are leaking power right now. And here is the trap inside the trap. Once you feel that leak, you often panic and increase output. More words, more visibility, more emotional labor. That panic is exactly what collapses respect. So yes, the answer is absence. But even if you disappear perfectly, there is one mistake 90% of men make in the second week that guarantees they will never be respected again. We will cover that now. Here is the architecture. Absence without intention is hiding. Hiding is pain management. Strategic absence is power management. If you disappear because you are hurt, you come back with cleaner clothes and the same nervous system. If you disappear to rebuild, you come back with new leverage. That second week mistake I warned you about is this. This is the social death spiral. You stop talking to them, but you start loudly ignoring them. You are still dancing for their attention, just without music. It is the most pathetic form of presence because it is a lie. People disappear from others but not from validation. They leave the room physically but stay chained psychologically. That is not strategic absence. That is emotional probation. To do this correctly, you need your dark room. Think of old film photography. The image has to develop in darkness. If you expose it to light too early, it gets washed out. Your new self works the same way. In early rebuilding, attention is light, applause is light. Showing progress too early is light, and early light ruins development. The dark room is a season where no one gets previews, no progress drops, no teaser posts, no bait lines. You do not disappear to look mysterious. You disappear to finish chemical development. Digital noise feels warm, blue phone light in your face, tiny dopamine hits from notifications. The dark room is colder than that. The dark room smells like cold coffee and iron. It feels like the ache in your forearms when you're 3 weeks into a new discipline and no one has clapped for you yet. If you can't sit in that coldness without reaching for the warmth of a like button, you aren't rebuilding. You're just holding your breath. One look at me post is enough to create a light leak. Once that happens, your new image starts developing around other people's reactions instead of your standards. And this gives you a practical timeline. Week 1 in the dark room is detox. No reactive output, No emotional outreach to people who failed your standard. No light leaks. Week 2 is identity work. You tighten sleep, training, work blocks, and message discipline. This is where most people relapse into validation hunting. Do not. Week 3 is asset proof. You produce visible output every day without announcing it. Work shipped, body trained, money managed, skill improved. If you cannot point to hard evidence after 3 weeks, you are hiding, not rebuilding. Inside that dark room, 3 things must happen. First, silence is signal. Stop explaining. Stop defending. Stop posting reactions. Stop narrating your healing. Silence is not the absence of communication. Silence is communication. It says, access has been revoked. Second, sovereign rebuilding. This is where most people stay vague, and vagueness is weakness. Working on myself is not a plan. Pick one visible asset and one invisible asset. Visible asset means something others can observe without explanation. Your body, your business output, your craft, your money discipline, your emotional control under pressure. Invisible asset means what carries the visible one. Your routines, your standards, your attention control, your sleep discipline, your non-reaction training. Build both, or the comeback collapses. If you build only visible assets, you look improved but crack under stress. If you build only invisible assets, no one can read the upgrade, and the social frame does not shift. Now let's go deeper on Machiavelli, because this is not theory. After the Medici returned to Florence, Machiavelli lost position, was imprisoned, tortured, and pushed out of power. Most people know that part. What they miss is how he used exile. During the day, he handled ordinary rural life. At night, he changed his clothes, putting on formal garments as if he were entering court. Then he wrote. Not random journaling, statecraft. He entered what he described as conversation with ancient political minds. In modern terms, he built authority before he had office. This is where the Prince and Discourses on Livy emerged, both written in exile, both reshaping political thought while their author was powerless. That detail matters. He did not wait to feel powerful. He practiced power privately until output matched identity. That is sovereign rebuilding. Third, controlled reemergence. Return is engineered, not emotional, not impulsive, no I'm back speech, no timeline explanation, no public revenge arc. You re-enter through evidence. And now let's talk about the void mechanics, because this is where people finally understand why absence works. When a person can predict you, their brain runs a closed loop. No effort, no curiosity. When your pattern breaks, you trigger a search response. Behavioral science calls part of this intermittent reinforcement dynamics. When availability becomes uncertain, attention increases. Slot machines run on that principle. So do unstable relationship loops. You are not using this to manipulate people. You are using it to stop being cheaply predictable. What does that search response look like in real life? Phase 1 is profile checking. They start checking your activity more than usual because certainty is gone. Phase 2 is proxy scanning. They ask mutuals casual questions. Have you heard from him? What's she up to lately? Phase 3 is bait testing. They post something that used to trigger you. They wait. No response increases cognitive friction. Phase 4 is narrative rewriting. They move from he folded to maybe he leveled up, because your old pattern no longer appears. That mental movement is the beginning of respect. Now do another audit. In the past 7 days, how many small actions leaked your need for attention? How many times did you feel the urge to prove you were fine instead of building proof in silence? If the answer is more than 0, your dark room has light leaks. Fix them now. Block the validation loops. Mute triggers. Post less. Track progress privately. You are not here to win attention during rebuilding. You are here to win position. Stop. Check your posture right now. Are you leaning forward into your screen, hunting for the next tip? That is the posture of a seeker. Lean back. Take up space. If you can't even watch a video without leaning into the frame, you're still broadcasting need. Fix your spine before we move to the return. Before we move to the return, ask yourself this. If I told you that you could never speak to the person who disrespected you ever again, not even to show off your success, would you still do the work? If the answer is no, you are not building a weapon, you are building a costume. Machiavelli built the weapon in the dark, but it was useless until he found the right hand to hold it. Most of you build the weapon, then drop it the moment you step back into the light. Here is the surgical protocol for the re-entry. The return is not a moment. It is a campaign. Silence built tension. Rebuilding built proof. Return converts both into status. Most people fail because they come back too fast and too loud. They want recognition for disappearing. They want applause for growth. They want closure. That need makes them easy to reset. And yes, people will test you when you return. Call it the shit test. It is a status probe. They are checking whether you are still the same person they could move. The first test usually arrives as a joke, a jab, or a fake friendly comment. Look who finally remembered us. New haircut, same drama? So are you done being mysterious now? If you over-explain here, you drop back to your old rank immediately. Your protocol is simple. Pause. Half smile. Low information response. Redirect. Example 1. Them. Where have you been? You. Handling things. How have you been? Example 2. Them. So you're back from your monk cave? Been focused. What's new with you? Example 3. Them. You disappeared. Everything okay? You. Quiet season. I'm on schedule now. You good? Notice the pattern. No apology, no long backstory. No request for approval. You answer in one line and move frame back to neutral ground. That is non-reaction scripting. Now go deeper with the shit test map. First, the nostalgia trap. This one is dangerous because it feels like the good old days. They joke about the old you to pull you back into old behavior. Then there's the guilt hook. This one is subtler. They imply your boundaries are cruelty. You changed, bro. And finally, the credibility probe. This is where they bait you into over-explaining so they can reset your status. They ask loaded questions to make you over-explain your absence. Your response rule stays the same. Do not defend identity. Demonstrate stability. Short answer. Calm tone. Redirect. If they push again, shorten further. All good. Busy season. Nothing dramatic. Then move on. If they keep pushing after the third low information response, that is data. Reduce access. Now let's lock in the historical beat. Napoleon's return from Elba in 1815 includes a moment near Grenoble that should be studied by anyone rebuilding status. Royal troops, including units of the 5th Regiment, were sent to stop him during the 100 Days campaign. On paper, this should have ended quickly. Instead of opening fire, he stepped forward and exposed himself, forcing a psychological decision in front of everyone. He is remembered for this line: "If there is any among you who would kill his emperor, here I am." After he said those words, there was a silence that felt like an eternity. He did not reach for his sword. He did not scream. He just stood there. That silence was the vacuum that sucked loyalty out of the royal troops and back to him. Would they shoot the man whose identity still held the room? Or would they switch? Many switched. No big battle, no dramatic firefight in that moment. Presence and narrative weight did the work. That is the point. Comeback force is not volume. It is conviction plus proof plus timing. You have the edge because you know how much you've changed, but they think you're still the same person they stepped on. That's your hidden weapon. Use it with restraint. There are 3 common comeback errors. Error 1 is announcement energy. New era posts, long captions about growth. You leak neediness and invite tests. Error 2 is revenge conversation. You corner old doubters to force acknowledgement. You look emotionally stuck in the past. Error 3 is over-availability. You come back and suddenly respond to everyone instantly to prove you're healed. You flood your own signal again. Do the opposite. Let others notice first. Let work speak first. Let consistency speak longer than one loud week. And when people rewrite history and act like they always respected you, let them. You do not need confessions. You need position. Pause for an audit. Who are you secretly hoping will notice your comeback first? Name them. Now ask this: if they never notice, does your protocol continue unchanged? If not, you are still performing, not rebuilding. Fix that before we move on. Because the external strategy only works if the internal war is won. Now we go inside. Most people do not fail strategic absence because of tactics. They fail because of the internal parasite. The internal parasite is the part of you that says, I need the person who hurt me to see how well I'm doing. That voice is subtle, but it controls everything. It controls when you post. It controls who you stalk, who you mute, who you bait, who you accidentally run into. And it turns your growth into a performance for the same audience that disrespected you. People call that revenge success. Living well is the best revenge. Careful. If you are living well to be witnessed by them, you are still enslaved to their gaze. That is not sovereignty. That is cleaner dependency. Law 16 from the 48 Laws of Power says it directly. Use absence to increase respect and honor. But most people only apply the first half. They vanish physically. They do not vanish emotionally, so their absence has no power, because inside they are still begging to be seen. Here is a fast parasite diagnostic. Ask yourself these 5 questions. Do I check whether one specific person saw my post? Do I imagine a future scene where they finally regret losing me? Do I feel disappointed when my growth is not witnessed? Do I craft captions to send indirect messages? Do I break my own routine after seeing their update? If you answered yes to 3 or more, the parasite is active. Do not shame yourself. Treat it like malware. Remove inputs, rebuild operating system, restore clean behavior. Let's get ruthless and practical. People-pleasing is not kindness. It is a survival strategy your nervous system learned under social threat. Biologically, it is expensive. When you over-monitor others for approval, your stress system stays active. Cortisol and the fight-or-flight response stay elevated. Sleep quality drops. Decision quality drops. You become the scared prey. You answer too fast. You explain too much. You tolerate disrespect to avoid conflict. Then you resent everyone. And there is a second biological invoice people ignore. Chronic people-pleasing teaches your body that conflict equals danger. So your stress response fires even for small social friction. Heart rate rises on simple messages. You rehearse conversations before sending one text. You lose hours of focus to imagined rejection. Over months, this is not just emotional pain, it is a constant drain. Your brain stops hunting for wins and starts sniffing for danger. You are not a lion anymore. You are a deer, twitching at every sound in the woods. That is why high performers treat boundaries as performance tools, not personality traits. That cycle can run for years. Strategic absence is how you cut that loop, not as punishment, as nervous system retraining. You are teaching your body that disapproval is survivable. No collapse, no panic text, no emergency explanation, just standards. I know the feeling. You lay in bed at 2 a.m., replaying the moment they laughed at you. You think of the perfect comeback you should have said. You feel the heat in your chest. That heat is your power trying to find a way out. Do not let it out through your mouth. Let it burn the old you to ash. That heat in your chest is not a burden. It is fuel. Most men waste it on a revenge fantasy that never happens. You are going to use it to power the dark room. Every time you want to send that text, do 10 push-ups. Every time you want to check their story, read 5 pages of a hard book. Convert the heat into an asset. Now I want to give you the death of the nice guy ritual. This is a mental funeral. Do it once with full attention, then repeat, weekly, for a month. Step 1. Sit alone. No music, no phone. 5 slow breaths. Picture the version of you that got exploited. See him clearly. His posture, his tone, his habits. See him typing long messages to people who gave one-word replies. See him saying yes when he meant no. See him laughing at disrespect to avoid tension. Step 2. Name his belief out loud. If I am good enough, they will finally treat me well. Then challenge it out loud. No, they treated access as weakness because I gave it without standards. Step 3. Write a 1-page eulogy. Not dramatic, precise. Here lies the version of me that over-explained, over-gave, and over-tolerated. He kept me socially safe but strategically weak. Today he is retired. Step 4. Write your replacement code. 5 laws only. Example. I do not explain myself to hostile audiences. I do not reward delayed disrespect with instant access. I respond. I do not react. I protect my attention like capital. I let results speak before narrative. Step 5. Physical anchor. Stand up. Shoulders back. 1 full minute of stillness. No movement. No fidgeting. Train your body to hold the new identity. This is not fluffy mindset work. Identity is behavioral memory. If your body still performs the old panic pattern, your mind will follow it. Now let's make the sovereign mind operational, not philosophical. Use this daily protocol for 30 days. Morning. No reactive messaging in the first hour. You set your frame before you enter theirs. Midday. 1 deliberate delay each day when emotionally triggered. Minimum 20 minutes before reply. Evening. Score yourself from 1 to 5 on 3 metrics: reaction control, attention discipline, boundary enforcement. Keep this private. Private scoring builds internal authority. Public posting builds external dependency. And here is the hard line. You are not trying to become nicer at being disrespected. You are becoming less available to disrespect as a system. That means access has criteria now. If someone repeatedly mocks you, access drops. If someone only reaches out when they need something, access drops. If someone destabilizes your focus, access drops. No speech, no fight, no announcement, just reduced availability. That is strategic absence applied as governance. Do one more audit. Who gets premium access to you right now but has not earned it in 6 months? List 3 names. Now define 1 boundary change for each. Less frequency, shorter replies, no emotional labor, no instant availability. Then execute quietly. Your nervous system will scream the first week, "This is rude." They will leave. You are becoming cold. Good. That is withdrawal from people-pleasing. Stay with it. By week 3, calm returns. By week 4, your speech shortens. By week 6, people feel the shift before they understand it. And this is the transformation people misunderstand. You are not becoming a different human. You are becoming harder to read, harder to provoke, and harder to downgrade. Still fair, still honest, but no longer easy to exploit. When that internal shift locks in, respect stops being something you chase. It becomes the default response to your presence. Now bring it home. Strategic absence is not about punishing others. It is about reclaiming sovereignty over your time, your nervous system, your standards, and your narrative. The world does not respect constant availability. It respects controlled access, emotional discipline, and visible proof. Disappear with intention. Enter the dark room. Build assets in silence. Return through evidence. Pass the first test without over-explaining. Kill the internal parasite that still performs for the people who hurt you. Final truth. Disappear with intention. Return with proof. If you want more ruthless frameworks like this, subscribe. This channel is the blueprint.